All right. I am lucky to be joined by Jacob Cardenas, new member of the University of Michigan Wolverine wrestling team here. So, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. So, most of you may know him from his time at Cornell, where he's a two-time All-American and was a U-23 bronze medalist as well. How do you like Ann Arbor so far, man?
I'm loving it. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's pretty busy so far just because I have class all day. I have class from like 1 to 6, and then I practice in the mornings. So, and then I have lift 2 times a week. So, pretty busy, but like good. It's a good busy, and like all my friends in my classes are great. My teammates are cool. I've been hanging out with them a little bit more. So far, no complaints at all. It's pretty nice here. It's a nice city.
Yeah, I'm originally from Ann Arbor, grew up there, and I didn't
Oh
realize how
wow.
lucky I was to grow up
Yeah.
there until after the fact, right? So,
No,
um,
the city life is nice. I love
yeah,
it.
it's really awesome. So, talk a little bit about though. I mean, obviously it's a transition, right? You spent so many years in Ithaca and with Cornell. So, is there anything back from Ithaca that you missed, whether it's a restaurant or just an atmosphere?
I've been thinking about my friends a lot, just my old teammates, just because I lived with them my entire time there, and it's all I hung out with in Ithaca. It's a
Mhm.
pretty like remote place, especially during the summertime. Like I would be in Ithaca every summer training, and like it would just be me and the guys there. So
Mhm.
I definitely miss the guys a lot. But yeah, man, Cornell was a great time, but it was just time for me to go. I mean, I kind of had to go.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I would say my teammates for sure, but like it's not even my teammates, just like my friends in general, friends in class that I made. Yeah, I miss the people there for sure.
Mhm. Well, talk a little bit around those circumstances in the transfer, right? Because I mean, my
Yeah,
understanding is that, like you just referenced, right, there was no more eligibility to continue to, compete for Cornell, and just,
yeah,
kind of how you made the decision to make the change.
yeah. So Cornell, I think it's an Ivy League rule. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure no Ivies could do this. Essentially, Cornell wouldn't let me. They offer post grad programs, just master's programs there, of course, but I wouldn't be able to compete varsity while
Mhm.
doing those grad programs. So I can only be an undergrad student and compete in sports. And yeah, I already took a year off for my freshman year, and then took another year off. So I pretty much like stretched all of my like undergrad time there. So and I graduated last spring, and I have an extra year of eligibility left. So that's what prompted me to transfer to another school for a master's program just to fulfill my last year of eligibility.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, talk a little bit about your time at Cornell because you had a unique experience with, you were there with Rob Cole and then the
Yeah,
transition from him to Coach Gray, and
yeah,
just, some of the good things about that time there.
yeah. No, Coach Cole was the man. He recruited me out of high school. Him and Gabe Dean were like a big recruiting process for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, Coach Cole left. I forget. Yeah, he went to Stanford, but I forget why he went to Stanford. But and then we pretty much got a whole new coaching staff after that. Gabe left, Cole left. I mean, Max left at the time too, and then we got a great coaching staff coming in. We had Gwiz, Kellen, and Donnie coming in, and then
Hmm.
Mike Gray was promoted to head coach, and honestly, that was the the best staff I think ever, man. I appreciated them a lot. I think Mike is like a Matt Wizard. He's a super good technician, a great coach, and Gwiz was like pretty much my training partner, and Kellen and Donnie would always help him with technique, and just Donnie would run the practices all the time, and they were great, and they sucked from time to time, but they made us better. So I really liked our most recent coaching staff. I think I jumped levels there, sure.
Excellent. Well, I did want to ask a Kellen Russell story because I've gotten the chance to interview him before. He's hilarious
Yeah.
and an awesome dude. And obviously, there's the overlap with Michigan. So, do you have any good Kellen Russell stories you can share?
Top of my head, no, but I remember when I took my visit here to Michigan, there's this place called Ricewood, I think. You know Ricewood?
I don't know offhand, but yeah.
Maybe I don't know if it's called Ricewood with rice. I don't know, but it's like a barbecue, like a brisket barbecue place. And supposedly when Kellen was in college here at Michigan, like he just went there like every day. Like he's just known, he's like the man there. So it was the first place I hit up, and I sent him a picture. And then yeah, I even asked the coaches too. He's like, yeah, bro. Like I don't even think I brought it up. I think they were just like, yo, you should tell Kellen about this place. He used to love it. And I was just like, yeah, man, Kellen. Kellen told me this is the first place I got to go to. So I
That
don't know. I mean, there's definitely more stories, like traveling stories, but I can't remember at the top of my head.
that's funny. Yeah, so I went to there's a Buffalo Wild Wings over by the Briarwood Mall, and there's a picture of Kellen Russell getting his hand raised,
Yeah.
and two-time national champ sort of
Actually?
standing there. Yeah, yeah, and it's in
Oh,
this
I didn't know.
yellow Michigan singlet. And so I texted the picture to him. I was like, "Hey, here's this, at the B-Dubs," and he was like, "That's the one and only time I wore that singlet, and I hated it." So he's like, naturally, that's what they put up. Um, but yeah,
Kellen's
so
awesome.
yeah, he's the man. Um,
Yeah.
so I wanted to talk NCAA's last year, right? I was looking at the brackets and everything. Obviously, you placed fourth, in a very very tough 197. Preseason, I believe you're ranked first or second, depending on the polls and everything. But talk a
Yeah.
little bit about you lose to Elam in the second round, right? And
Yeah.
I was looking at the brackets, and I'm like, man, he had to go through Jackson Smith, Volker, and then Silas Allred in the blood round. So talk about the mentality, kind of battling through the backside, and kind of what you were trying to do from there.
Yeah. It definitely just sucked like losing second round because I mean, I kind of just I don't even know. I kind of came out like flat or just like not really as locked in as I should have been, and then it just kind of like pissed me off a lot just because like why didn't I like put everything out there in the first match? You know what I mean? So then the backside, I was just like, hey, dude, like I part of it was I just didn't want to feel that again, and then a second part of it was just like, hey, man, like you already lost, like doesn't even matter. Like I mean, maybe it's a bad mindset, but it's just like, hey, man, if I'm not winning it, like whatever, man, just do whatever you want, like just
Mhm.
go out there and just let it fly, and then that's basically what happened. I didn't really think too much. I didn't have any nerves. I kind of just like I was on, I saw my name on the board, started warming up, and then I went out there, just like did what I could do, and yeah, I didn't really like look at the names. I didn't even know I was wrestling that Maryland kid the first round. My first thing, I had to cut weight after I lost, which sucked. Stood up all night doing that, and then yeah, like when I saw my name on the board, I was like, oh, this is what I'm wrestling, and then went out there, and then I just did one match at a time, and then
Yeah.
I beat Elam in the backside, which was nice. That was like a little full circle moment, and then third, fourth match, I kind of slipped up a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, because if I was reading the stuff online correctly, you had beaten Elam earlier in the year in the duel.
Yeah, I did.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, and then dropped that match. But yeah, I mean, was it how much of it? I mean, I haven't been in the arena, right? But I can sit here and I can do the whole thing where I go revenge, right? And you come up with this narrative in your head. I mean, is that a real thing, or is it just going out there and doing your job?
No. I mean, at least for me, it's not like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I think when it comes down to it, like the tournament, it's just whoever like wants it more at the time. You know what I mean? And it's just like I think he just wanted it more the second round, but then backside, I was just like, dude, you're not beating me again. And
Mhm.
then I kind of, maybe I wanted it more, maybe he wanted it more, and I just ended up winning. But at least in my head, like, no, I'm not really like a very, super like, oh, I gotta beat you, and this is my mat. Like, I'm just like, do my moves and be respectful and just kind of, I like to win, so that's just like my thing. It's not really a personal thing.
Nice, nice.
Uh,
Well, talk a little bit about your U23's experience, right? Like I referenced earlier, bronze medal. Was it last summer?
I took bronze last fall.
Yeah.
It was in
Okay.
October. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that experience and yeah, just go from there.
I love it. I love wrestling overseas. I like wrestling foreign guys. It's just a different feel. Even the tournament like atmosphere is different. It's very I wouldn't say relaxed, but it's very I mean NCAA is just super like stimulating, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But like Worlds, it's just like I don't know, just a whole bunch of guys like all over the country just wrestling each other, in my opinion. And it's great, man. I love to travel. That's like my number one thing I like to do. I traveled this summer. I went to Tokyo, going traveling again next summer with my best friend, and like wrestling gives me the opportunity to travel all over the world. I've been to Spain for wrestling. Went to Albania last year. We're going to Albania again this year. So overall, it's one of my favorite tournaments just because of the experience. I just like to experience life,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just wrestle while I do it, which is great. And it's good competition too. It's just like it's a different feel, it's a different type of wrestling, so it just gets you better. So I think that's what I like for it. That's what I like the best about it. It's just a new experience, and I mean, every year is a little different, right? I wrestle different guys from different countries every year, so I really do enjoy the tournament.
That's awesome. Do you have any plans then to continue wrestling internationally and maybe sticking around with Cliff Keen or another club?
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about it, but that's more of like a after the season type
Right.
of this. Yeah, right now
Right.
I'm just like focused. I'm really excited for the season. The season's gonna be really fun. But yeah, Worlds first, and then Big Ten season, nationals, and then I think my decision will be more clear after that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I always like to talk about, there's the student athlete, right? Then everybody like hold the student piece of it and whatnot, but it is important, So talk a little bit. It looks like your undergrad was architecture, art, and planning, and just talk a little bit about your grad program with business management at Michigan, and what your end goal, seems to be.
Yeah. So I was in the architecture, art, and planning school at Cornell, and I studied urban and regional studies. So essentially, like, long story short, I studied cities. Like, I studied cities and how they work, how to make them more efficient, how to make them more sustainable. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff with it, but essentially, I studied cities, and I had a business minor as well, the business school at Cornell. And now I transferred to the business school, the Raw School of Business at Michigan, and I have a degree in management, business management. And those classes are going great. I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. We're kind of in our core classes right now. I'm taking like stats and econ, business class, and so far the transition's been smooth. It hasn't really been any different. Student athlete life is kind of the same. This is my first time taking summer classes though, so that's a little different for me, just because I usually just wrestle in the summer. But nothing really different so far. It's just maybe more like the concentrated classes throughout the year. I'm taking like a strategy consulting class later. I'm not too sure about the classes yet, but nothing really too different. Student athlete life kind of just the same. Kind of stinks. You're just always busy all the time. But so far school has been great. I'm enjoying my professors. Professors are really nice here, really nice, cool, collaborative, and students are really cool here too.
Excellent. So talk about the goals, right? 2024, 2025, I assume national title is kind of the main, top level thing, but, are there any sub goals you have throughout the year or anything that you're really focusing on to get through it?
I think, like, besides like accolades, I think my goal is just to, like, I don't know, it's cliche, but just to dominate everybody. Like, I like to tech guys. Yeah, it's like my favorite thing to do. Is if I just, get off the mat as quick as I could and put up points, like, that's just like, it's nice. I can just pin people sometimes, here and there. Just dominating. I think, like, in the past, I usually kind of like settle for like a decision or like a major, but it's just like, especially in the Big Ten, it's like, I'm excited for the atmosphere. I'm excited to like put on a show. You know what I mean? If like we wrestle at Iowa this year and we wrestle at Penn State this year, it's like, bro, if I can light up the scoreboard in front of thousands of people, like, that's just a great feeling, So goal is always the same. Goal is always national champ, undefeated, tech. I want to tech everybody if I could. So just like pure dominance is pretty much my goal.
I like it. Well, and then I also wanted to get your thoughts on the Ivy League in general, right? Because they're breaking off from EIWA. They're going to have their own conference. If I remember correctly, I didn't write it down. I probably should have, but you were multiple time first team All Ivy, right? So talk a little bit about, what you expect to see out of the Ivy League and just its overall development over the last several years.
It stinks. They form a league or the year after I leave, man. That's like the EIWA tournament's like a 24-man bracket, I think, or something like that.
Massive.
And I got to win like 4 matches to win the tournament. But then Ivy League is only 6 teams that wrestle in the Ivy League. So, you win 2 matches, you're at nationals. So that's pretty much how it works. We went from the EIWA, which is just, all pretty much the East Coast teams, and then they just compiled it into the Ivy League conference tournament. So it's, I guess kind of like the ACC. ACC is a pretty small tournament.
Yep.
So I'm excited for them. Good for them, man. That's huge for the Ivy League, just because, especially like towards the later end of the season, it's like, body's hurting. It's just like, those guys need rest. And like, back at Cornell, we used to, the grind doesn't really stop, man. It's just like we're doing grind matches. We're going live, even February, March. So I'm excited for them, man. They should be doing pretty good. I hope the boys do good next year. And that's exciting. Ivy League duels are always fun. It's just like, kind of like a little rivalry, I guess. And it's fun. I liked it.
So I've got some friends on, Princeton staff and talked to over the years a lot of different people from different Ivy League schools, and I always like to ask them, like, you ever look at the other schools in the EIWA at the time and be like, kind of sigh at them, like, you're not Ivy, you're not at this level, or like the non-Ivy schools in the EIWA. Do you guys ever look at them a little like, you're not You're not at this piece. You know, we're here.
I mean, not I think, no. I mean, there are like I don't know if any of them are in the. There are like fake Ivies, like
Right.
Duke, like a really good school, but it's not an Ivy, and then
Mhm.
like, but Duke's not in the EIW. I'm trying to think. I guess like Lehigh's a pretty good school,
Mhm.
but they're not really Ivy. But it's no, actually Cornell is like they're known in the Ivy League world, like they're known for being the fake Ivy. Like I don't know, compared to like Princeton and Harvard, like those schools are like the best of the world, but we're actually the fake Ivy considered, for everybody. But
That's
no,
funny.
I don't look at it like, man, everyone goes to their school because that's what they chose, So it's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna degrade somebody for not being an Ivy League student.
No,
But
totally.
I don't think we look at like other schools like that now.
Totally fair. I went to Central Michigan, which was the Ivy League of Mount Pleasant, so
Uh,
that works out for us. Yeah.
yeah, a
All
couple
right.
of my friends are joking that Michigan's the Ivy League of the West. That's what they keep telling me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Big Ten. You referenced it earlier. You're jumping into the Big Ten conference. I know Cornell, like that. Cornell's schedule is always a grind. Anyways, they always looked for the toughest competition and went to some big events. But and you kind of referenced it earlier, so I'm sorry if this is a redundant question, but just talk a little bit about the excitement of joining the conference and the prospect of winning a Big Ten title and all that goes along with it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. That's like again, what you said was true. We at Cornell we wrestled like the top schedule all the time, but I think Big Ten. I mean, I don't know because I'm new here, but I'm assuming it's just going to be more like I don't know, more like lights and cameras and action. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
the Big Ten when we wrestle Iowa. It's just like I guess it's kind of going to be like NCAA's. You know what I mean? Like I mean, not really, but it's going to be 1,000 fans, thousands and thousands of fans there, and like I'm gonna have a chance to like put on a show, and I'm just excited for that. Like it's just a new environment, It's like when we wrestle Harvard and Brown, it's kind of just like like a duel. We just get in there, get out. But it's like here, it's like an event, So,
Mhm.
and from what I think, from what I've seen, like over on the internet and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. That's kind of that was one of my main pulls just coming here, just the Big Ten, just the Big Ten schedule, just because I wrestle the best guys. I'll probably wrestle the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guy in the country, like maybe twice this year or something,
Mhm.
So yeah, just the competition is great here. It's excellent, and I'm just really really excited to like put on a show for everybody, whoop some butt.
Awesome, man. Well, we're excited to watch you as well. Welcome to Ann Arbor, and
So
appreciate your
much.
time.
Yeah, thank you. No, thanks for hitting me up. I appreciate it.